Hello everyone. Welcome to another impromptu stream where I decided I was going to work on something and said I may as well make a stream out of it. My hair is a bit of a mess. I haven't left the house in a few days because of the weather. No, I was out building a snowman today, but I got an old echo. 1 second. There we go. Just by the title there, I did a stream a while ago. Apparently, it was like back in October, just looking at the GitHub account, where I designed a system for controlling a strip of 12-volt LED lights, and I haven't done anything with it since I last did a stream. I stuck the lights up in the kitchen, but I never did anything with the Arduino side of things, and so you can turn the lights on and off by just like plugging in the 12-volt adapter. But yeah, maybe it's time to actually finish off the project. So hey, Unexpected Maker, and hey, Leonid, how is it going? I need to get my 12-volt adapter. 1 second. See where I keep all my goodies. Just 1 second. Yeah, so hey Michael, how's it going? Yeah, so I got this 12-volt adapter from Amazon. It outputs 5 amps. Hey Crocoduck, let me get to desk and me. So yeah, I've done a lot of changes kind of in the office. I was doing a bit of rewiring of my computer and stuff like that. I don't know, it seems like it's a bit bright. Be okay. Sorry about that shine. So I was hoping everything would work out okay. It seems to be working fine anyways. So I got 2 of these adapters, and they seem pretty good because I blew a couple. I think they were just cheap adapters, and I needed too much current for what they could give. And so yeah, this was pretty cheap. It was like £10 or something. I'll stick a link to it for anybody who can order off Amazon.co.uk. Just open it up. Not cut myself. Another reason I liked the idea of getting this one is because I can have like a socket up on top of my counter for Alexa, and like if I use something along these lines, I could you know, maybe plug this into the socket that's up on top, and then maybe have this at the back of one of the cupboards coming down through. So yep, that's that. Yeah, it seems to be working pretty well anyways. So the other part of the project was an ESP8266, so let me just grab that. So if you follow me on Twitter, it's at WitnessMeNow, which is kind of a weird name, but it's the internet name I picked for myself when I was 15, and I've never moved away from it. So these things kind of follow you around. So it's been sitting in my I like these little project boxes. Well, I don't know what they're actually for, but you can get them in IKEA, and they're a nice size because you can fit like wires and all, you know, not a full size breadboard, but a full half size breadboard into it. I don't know if this one has survived to tell the tale now, but yeah, so this originally was the project I was working on. It looks like I've taken the ESP from it, so let's grab that. I also need to adjust just the focus. USB. And let's get the focus. So, how is everyone doing this evening? I spent a large amount of my time cleaning my desk, so I can actually show you more of my desk now. Just ignore the Christmas tree ornament. That's about the last thing that needs to be done. But yeah, I can't really lift you any higher than that, so I suppose I could use that one, but I have a pretty short lead on it, so I can't really. Okay, let me just. I use autofocus on that camera, but this one here I don't, because it moves around way too much when you're moving your hands underneath it. So I need to control the focus of this one manually. Okay, I suppose I want to get you in a little bit closer than that. Now let's focus this up. It seems a small bit blurry even though it is focused. Just give it a quick wipe. This is how the pros do it, wipe their cameras on a live stream. Okay, so what is going on with this here? Right, let me try to remember what's going on here too. So it looks like some of it's apart anyway, so that's the first thing that we'll need to address. But so the general idea was that this is I think it's a book converter, and it's got a load of dog hair stuck to the double-sided sticky tape on the back of it, because that's what happens when you live in a house with two huskies. So this was going to take the 12 volt power in, and this is going to take the 12 volt power in and step it down to I was originally going to use 5 volts to step it down to, but I guess I could just step it straight down to 3.3 volts. I wouldn't see why not. So yeah, this is going to be connected to power in, which is this guy, which also fell off. So he would be plugged into here, just the adapter I was showing you earlier. Then they would be plugged in there. Hey Michael, I do want to stream next week, Michael. I'm going to possibly stream twice next week. It was just a case of, I was like, oh, I have some time this evening and I wouldn't mind finishing off that project, and I thought maybe you guys would like to see it. So yeah, that will go in there. I'm not going to plug this in just yet because that's the output of my converter, because I need to just check that it is adjusted properly. Yeah, so that's going to power my ESP8266. I'm sure you're all familiar with one of those now if you're on my channel, but if you're not, it's a Arduino board that has built-in Wi-Fi on it, and this particular one is $3 delivered and has everything you need to program it. So I really like these and recommend them wholeheartedly. Okay, so that is going to go in here. So yeah, I previously had it connected to the 5 volts, just judging by my wiring. This is possibly my best bad breadboard. Hey Dave, so if you aren't, and I assume most of you aren't, Dave was doing a live stream today, just before mine actually, and he was demonstrating his fake Nixie tube build. Correct me if any of this is wrong, but Dave sells a lot of projects and boards on Tindy, and So he's building his fake Nixie tube project, and yeah, it was really cool. I had to stop watching it to put my daughter to bed, and then I said I'd do this stream, so I didn't catch the end of it, Dave, but it was really good what I did see, so thanks for that. Okay, so we got our 12 volts are going to come in here. We're going to step it down to probably 3.3 volts. We have a capacitor just to smooth it out in case this is noisy coming out, and it probably is. And yeah, so that's going to power our ESP8266 board. And then we're going to do two different things with that. We have a MOSFET here, and it is just for the fun of it, let's bring this super close. It is an IRL B8721, and yeah, so this is basically like a transistor. So it's one that accepts logic level, so it'll accept 3.3 volts or 5 volts, and can switch DC current or DC voltage. I don't know what its max limit is, but it's pretty high, and also it can like take something like 20 amps. Now you'd probably need a heatsink on top of that, but we'll only need to be able to switch like 1 amp in this. But yeah, these are a really nice MOSFET to get, anyways. So that was the IRL B8721. Oh, I probably should have remembered which way that went, but oops. I could probably actually scroll back in my own live stream window. Okay, yeah, it went that way. Yes, that's the benefits of live streaming, what you're doing. And then the last thing, and I'm not fully sure which way this goes, but this is a rotary encoder. So it's like a potentiometer, except you're unfocused. It's like a potentiometer, except are you unfocused? There, that'll do it for a minute. Except there's no limit, so it'll just like it reports back in software that it's rotating right or it's rotating left, but I can't reach the end of it here, so I can just spin and spin and spin, and that's fine. And then it also has a push button on it, so I can press it in. So what we're going to use that for is, I assume that's ground. Yep. So what we're going to use that for is we can adjust the brightness of the LED strip, and then also pushing it in and out is going to turn it on and off. So yeah, the MOSFET is going to switch the power to the LED. So what I have is it's switching ground. So if the MOSFET is off, it's not going to pass ground through to the this is kind of interesting too. These I saw these on Adafruit before. They're a crocodile clip on one end and DuPont connector on the other. But I wasn't buying anything from Adafruit at the time, so yeah, I just cut a crocodile cable in half and a DuPont cable in half, and then soldered a connection between them, and then heat shrunk it. And yeah, it's actually really nice. It's great for plugging in things to a breadboard that wouldn't normally go into a breadboard. So yeah, I just have that connected to one of these because I put a socket on the end of my LED strip, just so it would be easy to, you know, plug in and out, and yeah, so that was it. So the LED strip is already stuck on my is already stuck on my underneath my counter, so we can't use that LED strip anymore. But what we'll just do is we'll use the multimeter to show that the 12 volts is being switched out on this side. So yeah, let's hook it up, and the first thing we need to do is just make sure that this is outputting, excuse me, 3.3 volts. It's not an RGB strip, no, it's just white. It's also I guess I could just solder a connection up to this thing. Oh, actually I could use that probably. Is there any reason why I couldn't do that? No, I don't think so. Yeah, so I'll try connect up to this actually and see does that work for me. Because it would be nice to actually just use an actual LED strip rather than the multimeter. So yeah, let's try that out. So what I'll do is I'll just I'm going to plug these crocodile clips directly into ground and 12 volt positive of the breadboard. Let me just untangle the wires. The other nice thing about this LED strip as well is it's the one with the like waterproof coating, so like steam or whatever shouldn't matter. They do kind of smell when I guess when you take them out of the bag first, but like they don't smell in the kitchen or anything, but they have that kind of rubbery smell to them. Okay, so I'm just plugging in my 12 volt power supply. And there we go, we have a super bright LED strip. Okay, so that's cool. At least we can show that everything's working okay. Ooh, do you know what I might use for this now as well? If you just wait 2 seconds, I'm going to get rather than me plugging in and out the LED or the power supply is the right word, I guess. I'll use one of these remote control sockets, so if I need to turn it off to do whatever, I can just use the remote control socket, but the remote is in my living room, so just 2 seconds. You can just talk amongst yourselves. And I'm back. Yeah, so I might need to program that socket. Yeah. So yeah, I actually got these to use as an Arduino project because you can control them with like RF adapters, but this particular one isn't supported by the library at the moment. So I need to look into it a little bit more, but yeah, it's when it does work, because I have a different socket that I actually didn't have the remote for anymore, but somebody put up the code on GitHub for how to control it with an Arduino, so like I was able to just use that. It's probably the easiest and safest way of switching AC voltage with an Arduino, because you know a relay or a SON-off or whatever requires you to interfere with the wiring, while this is just, you know, a plug that your plugs into. plug. Yeah, it's okay. Let's Dave, I have it looks really like your multimeter, but it's made by a different company. If you're still on, this one's made by Rich Meters. It looks the exact same. This is the 102 model, as opposed to the 101 model. So I got a temperature sensor on mine as well, which I have not used yet, but I'm sure it'll come in handy at some stage. I see on earlier you were, or it could have been a couple of days ago, you were talking about putting a thermocouple in your solder oven, and I was thinking I could use the thermocouple that came with this to do it. Yeah. So yeah, I like this multimeter a lot. I like the fact that it turns off automatically, because I used to always leave it on. I like the fact that it uses not 9-volt batteries, and yeah, as you pointed out in your stream as well, it's tiny. So I like them a lot. I think there's a link to it in my video descriptions. Maybe there's not. I should put one in, because yeah, it's good. Okay, so let's turn on our LED light and let's measure the, it's just that little corner being super bright is probably you have a frequency out. I don't have a frequency out, I don't think. Okay, so I'm just trying to, I suppose, why am I measuring those legs when I could measure these? Let me show you what I see, I suppose. No point having a nice big display if I'm not showing it off. Okay, so it's currently set to 6 volts, which is pretty high. Yeah, I'm gonna get 2 alligator clips just so I can leave it connected while I adjust it. Crocodile clips, or whatever these are called. Does anybody know why every single electronics YouTuber ever, including me, has a cutting mat? Like, why don't we why don't we use anything else other than these cutting mats? The biggest variation I've seen is David Watts with his colored-y cutting mats, but we all have cutting mats. Yeah, so I'm just plugging the crocodile clips in here. Yeah, they shouldn't close together. I always worry about that with you're hooking up something like crocodile clips, that they'll touch off each other or whatever. The temperature probe is K-type as far as I remember. It's here somewhere. I don't know. Maybe it's not a K-type. It's just that little because of which board? This board, is it, Dev? I also actually do have a K-type. Yeah, rubber and non-conductive. It like this, the desk that I have as well is pretty shiny, so I guess that would make it bad for that. And I guess you can also tell like the size of stuff a bit better, because they're all 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. So yeah, somebody is gonna come up with a better idea. Michael, yeah, you'll never be an electronics YouTuber without a cutting mat. Um, it's like the most important part. Okay, so let's adjust our pot here. I've talked about this on live streams before as well, but I've this screwdriver set since the mat. Okay. Yeah, I've this screwdriver set for like 10 years now. I bought it off Deal Extreme when I used to use them a lot. But might be time to get a replacement, but I don't know. It's still serving me well. So I'm gonna go to 3.3 volts. I don't see why not. Crocoduck clips are very expensive. You've cornered the Crocoduck clip market. Pink is the best. Yeah, Dave has a load of different ones, doesn't he? Or, I don't know. Am I wrong? I find it hard to call someone whose name is David. It's just every David I've ever known goes by Dave. And yeah, does David Watts go by Dave? Dave Jones, Dave Darko, or maybe it's David Arco. I presume it's Dave Darko. No, your Twitter profile says Dave, so it must be 3.29. Yeah, it's as close as it needs to be. Sure, it only needs to be between 3 and 3.6. Yeah, it's funny when I'm doing live streams, I don't get to correct myself saying 3. So it's an Irish thing that we can't pronounce 3. You're not a David, you're a liar. So I don't know, it actually crossed my mind that that's not a very German name, but yeah, so what was I saying? I completely forget. Yeah, I forget. I could watch back and see where my train of thought was going, but it's fine. I'm sure I'll either remember or it wasn't that important. Or if you know where I was going with it, please prompt me. Okay, so that's close enough. So let's turn it off and hook it up to the ESP. So ground doesn't need to go anywhere. Oh. Let me not block everything. So I'm just going to move what was 5 volts into the 3.3 volt line, which is kind of occupied. But I'll free that up now. So I was sending 3.3 volts to the rotary encoder, so now I'm just going to get it from the bottom bar. No, I'm a Dave. Oh, sorry. You're a Dave. Okay, I get you now. Sorry. Oh yeah, the 3 thing. So when I'm doing a video, if I record myself saying 3.3 volts, I say it properly 3.3, but my wife gives out to me every single time that I'm suppressing my Irish accent, which would be 3.3 volts. But on live streams I catch myself saying 3.3 all the time, and I can't stop. Can't go back and edit it. Okay, so let's hope that works all right. And yeah, so let me I have to admit I have never seen Donnie Darko, and I don't know why. My wife would hate it, I'm 100% sure of that. But like, Donnie Darko came out when I was like 15, so that was predates my wife. Well, not her in general, but me and her. So I'm just plugging ground back into the middle pin of that MOSFET. Tree, yeah, tree. So I made a video on logic level shifting before, and I obviously wasn't paying too much attention to my 3.3s, and like, as you can imagine, in a video on logic level shifting, I said 3.3 a lot, and like the first, and maybe like there's not too many comments on that video. The first comment is just tree, spelled T-R-E-E. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's plug this in and hope that we don't blow anything up. Okay, ESP seemed to turn on. The LED strip isn't on at the moment, which is expected. There is no software on that board, so let's plug it in. No, we're even. I distracted you earlier on in your live stream. Okay, so let's share, screen share plus me. Okay, so here's what we prepared earlier. So I actually did out a pretty nice comment about this. I just added these two since, because I'm pretty sure they're done. So controlling a 12 volt LED strip using ESP8266. LED strip can be toggled using the rotary encoder button. The LED strip brightness can be adjusted using a rotary encoder. LED strip can be controlled by a web page, so we'll take a look at that in a minute. And can be controlled by Alexa. So the main hardware is the ESP8266, a 12 volt strip, the IRLB8721 MOSFET, and then the rotary encoder. It's written by Brian Locke. I was yeah, if I hadn't distracted you so much already when we were talking about English being a tough language, I was gonna see if I could get you to try pronounce my name, but I suppose if you've seen me say it here, it doesn't count. But it's not the best. Okay, yeah. So I'm doing my I'm pulling in my Wi-Fi name from this secret.h that I need to remember to not click. Yeah, I saw kind of a flicker on my webcam there. I don't know what that was a few minutes ago, and I just saw, or a few seconds ago, I saw it come up in the YouTube stream there as well. So let me know if that is becoming an issue. Yeah, so there's nothing really too manic going on here. What do we do? Go down, and so there's a handle root where I'm serving up a web page from here. So I'm using the string literal method that I've probably talked about a few times on the stream already. So this defines a string literal in C++. I'm putting it out in its own file. It needs to be something that can will be picked up by the C++ compiler. So I just use .h, and then I can put in full HTML code in here, and then to use it in my code, I just do const char star webpage equals #include webpage.h, and that gives me the full full code. So you don't need to escape anything. So it's pretty nice. Yeah, so that's cool. So that's what handle root does. So that's the web page. If somebody goes to the IP address of this, that's what they'll get. Handle brightness, we'll show you when we get to the web page, but that's an endpoint to change the brightness of the LED strip. So then in the setup, we're just connecting to the Wi-Fi, configuring handle root, and the toggle, which is another endpoint that just toggles the LED strip. And then that brightness one we showed earlier, that's my multimeter telling me it's going to turn off. Then we're setting the output for the LED strip, and this is for the rotary encoder switch, so it's got an internal, I'm using the internal pull-up of the ESP8266, and then this Wemo manager is for the Alexa stuff. So I'm calling this counter lights, so I should be able to say Alexa turn counter lights on and turn counter lights off, and it will trigger toggle LED either time. So yeah, I guess I could have it that off always turns it off and on always turns it on, but I just reuse toggle LED so both times, so it doesn't matter if you say Alexa turn on the counter lights or turn off the counter lights, it's going to just toggle them. Maybe that's not the best, but it'll do for the moment. And then the loop is where I am, what am I doing? I'm handling the Alexa stuff, I'm handling the web page stuff, and then I am checking if time is greater than push button cooldown due, which after the button is pressed is time plus 500, so that's just a simple bounce. And then it handles if the LED is on, if the rotary encoder is going up in position, change the brightness, and if it's going down in position, lower the brightness, but don't let it get lower than 10. So I think actually this is something I fixed after the last live stream. Hey Eric, how's it going? In case you're wondering, Eric is Make Me Lab. Thanks for joining. Yeah, so this is something I fixed since the last live stream, which was back in October, so I don't expect any of you to remember if you even watched it. But I originally had it so you could turn it down to 0, but that was a bad idea, because what was happening is you could turn it down to 0 and it still considered itself in the on position. So if you press the button at that stage, you were now turning it off, even though the LED hadn't changed. So then when you came back and turned it back on again, it would remain at the same brightness that it was before, which was 0, and it would you wouldn't know if it was on or off. So by dialing it, I think just bringing it down to a really low brightness is the way to go. And just in case you're not familiar as well, I don't know, analog write. So we're analog writing to the pin that's controlling the MOSFET, and it is using PWM. So analog write is using PWM, which means we can control, well, I've talked about controlling the brightness loads of times, but yeah, it means we can control the brightness of the LED strip as well. And just so you know, if you're not familiar with it, on an ESP8266, the max that analog write supports is 102.3, which is different than Nano or Nuno, which is 255. So yeah, I've seen a lot of people go, oh, I don't know why my pin is so dim on an ESP8266, and it's because of that. If you have code that makes an LED full brightness on a Nano, and then you port that code over to an ESP8266, it will work fine, but it will be 1/4 of the brightness that it could be. So yep. Okay, so let's upload this and see, does it work. Not all my code looks that nice. I have no idea why this is kind of tidied up. I think I think after the stream I just went and tidied it up to put it up on GitHub. I really should have put that in the description, the GitHub page for this. Well, that's upload. Well, it's not going to upload because I don't have a cable plugged into it. So let's fix that now. I don't think I'll need the multimeter or the crocodile clips anymore. So yeah, this is the GitHub for it. I didn't do jeez. I've obviously gotten lazy since this. This is actually this is pretty good. Yeah, why didn't I use this to show you what I was doing? It would have been nice. Do I fix the brightness perception being logarithmic? I do not at all. I literally, as you're dialing up, I increase the brightness by 10 every time. So if you're rotating it clockwise, I increase the brightness by 10, and if you're rotating it anti-clockwise, I decrease it by 10. But I don't do anything to do with adjusting it. But like, that's something that I can kind of look after. I can look after without or sorry, you know, in software or whatever. Yeah, you're right, I lied. The ESP8266 does require wires. I'm a bad person. Okay, did that upload? It's uploading now. Cool. What perfect timing. So it's probably connecting to the Wi-Fi now. Let me just check the serial monitor. Yep, getting a ton of noise on my serial monitor to do with the Alexa stuff, so it's obviously connected anyways. Yeah, my Alexa's in my kitchen, and my daughter is asleep, so I'm not going to be shouting down to Alexa, so I probably won't be able to demonstrate that portion of it. Well, I suppose I could probably grab Alexa, you know, I just have the dot, so I can just power it by micro USB and it should just connect or whatever. Yeah, okay. Looks like it's been discovered there, and it's very noisy actually. Doesn't matter. Okay, so let's try this out. Yay. Let me show you what I see, I suppose. Yeah, so that's the button. It seems relatively responsive, seeing as I'm not using interrupt or anything. That's cool. Yeah, so I can turn it down. So that's it at its lowest brightness, and then I can turn it up. That's me trying to melt the world with it. Yeah, so maybe it's a bit quick to dial up and down, but it doesn't really matter, I would say. Who cares? Yeah, these live streams are easy when you've done all the work before and all you're doing is just plugging things back in. No, so what we're going to do now is put this into something a little bit more permanent. And yeah, so this is actually probably a good time to show that I've done something pretty similar to this before. These are this is a controller for lights. It's my daughter has like stars up in her room. They're like Christmas lights, but they're stars, and I wanted to just build a controller for them. I kind of have some more plans for this now, but the concept is the same. So it's got the same MOSFET in here. It's got a input and it's got an output. The major difference is that it doesn't power the ESP8266. There was the power supply of the star LEDs that I was talking about wasn't powerful enough to well, sorry, it could power the ESP8266 and it would run fine, but the LED strip was dimming when the ESP was drawing more power, so it just basically the power supply wasn't suitable. You mean more WAF. For some reason that F looks strange. More WAF. I don't know what WAF is, so sorry. Also, if you like, I have a ton of hot glue. Yeah, gotta pass the wife approval test. This was actually my. Seemed like something turned off there or something, didn't it? Cool. Something did turn off. What happened there? Is it just disconnected? Is the ESP? Did the ESP crash? The ESP crashed. Interesting. Ah, yes. The wife acceptance factor. Yeah, my ESP crashed. I might disable the Alexa part of it because, as I mentioned, it was being super noisy. And I don't see what else would cause an issue with this. Maybe the power to it is too noisy. So maybe I am better off going with the 5 volts, because I guess the regulator would, you know, block it a little bit. But yeah, I think I'll just get rid of the Alexa stuff for the minute, and we'll go from there. So just to get rid of the Alexa stuff, like, I'm literally just gonna comment out the thing that feeds the Alexa loop. So, you know, it won't process any requests from it or anything. So let's upload that again. Yeah, I'll worry about the software and the things again. Although it could be a hardware issue using the buck converter. So while that's uploading, let's go back to this. So I was powering this using a micro USB cable separately, and that is a voltage regulator to convert the 5 volts down to 3.3 volts. So yep. So the major difference between this one and that one is there's the rotary encoder, and also it's going to be powered by the one thing. So yeah, I mightn't do the drilling and stuff this evening, just because I'm right beside my daughter's room, but it shouldn't be too loud. She sleeps like a trooper. Yeah, actually the schematics and code are already up on GitHub. I'll link to it now. So there's the schematics of it, and the code is up here too. So it's just this LED strip Wi-Fi. I got away with the for. Yeah, I guess if it's hidden or whatever, but this has to go underneath my counter, really, because that's where the LED strip is. So yeah, if it was just like the 433 megahertz is the same kind of thing that this uses, like that could be kind of hidden somewhere, and you'd never know. Wife avoidance factor. Yeah, you're just better at hide and seek. Yeah, so let me post this into the chat anyways. So yeah, code and circuits are there. I actually got an issue on it yesterday. Yeah, it doesn't start up properly for this person. But it is starting up for me okay. It's just crashed. Okay, so it's back working again anyways. What am I doing? Okay, let's gather the stuff to start building this thing. Hidden in plain view, drone. Okay, let me just grab this stuff. I'll let you just not have to look at my midriff when I reach up for stuff. Probably should have grabbed these things earlier on. Do I need a second Wemos? I could just reuse the same Wemos. Save me having to solder the header pins on screen. I'll just do a new one. Why not? I need a book converter. Book converters. At one stage I went crazy buying these. I obviously had a lot more projects planned. Hey Shine Vision, it's going good, thank you. Let me bring the mic up a bit higher. Same order source. Interesting. Yeah, I haven't had any problems with mine anyways, so yeah, hopefully it's not a bad batch or anything. What else do I need? So I need a MOSFET. That's my MOSFET collection. I have tons of these ones, but I don't think they work well with 3.3 volts, so I have a 3D printer, I just don't like it. And as per usual, anytime I mention my 3D printer, if it's over there somewhere, if Banggood or GearBest are watching, if they want to send me a new one, I'd be happy to shill myself in all ways possible. Okay, what else do I need? I guess I need a board to put it on. My supply of proto boards is starting to run fairly low, which is a good thing. This means I'm actually using them. One of these DC jacks. That Make Me was not impressed with on Saturday. Or was it? No, it was last Sunday, was it? Because I was trying to fit it into way too small of a case, and the legs on it are pretty long. So it was actually a great suggestion by him to cut the legs of it to make it fit in. Let's throw in a 220 microfarad capacitor. And I need a rotary encoder. I thought I bought some loose rotary encoders, but I don't see them, so I'll just use the brightness of that LED strip is changing. Believe that 5 volt myth. Yeah, the Wemos does convert it down. The Wemos does convert it down if you plug it into the 5 volt pin, which is down here. But it was, if you plug it into the 3.3 volt pin, it doesn't. I don't like the way the LED strip is adjusting. I don't remember it doing that before, so I might bring it back to the 5 volts. Hi Ivo on Twitch. I'm using an ESP8266. More specifically, I'm using a Wemos D1 Mini. They're my favorite board, both the ESP8266 and the Wemos D1 Mini part of it. So yeah, I'm gonna convert it back to 5 volts. I may as well just do it on this new one. I think that's everything, right? So I have my rotary encoder, I have the MOSFET, I have, yeah, oh, I need something to plug into, I'll just use this one, to plug into the LED strip that I have out in the kitchen. Yeah, this should work pretty fine. Cool. And also, yes, the most important thing, an appropriate sized case. To work on 3.3 volts on 5 volts or reverse use. Is that what these things are called? Or is, oh, that's the IC version of them. I normally use these guys, level shifters. But I don't think I need it today, no. So yes, an appropriate sized case. If any watched my stream on Sunday or Saturday, whatever day it was, I used a really small case, and it did fit everything in, but it was just such a pain to fit everything in. Yeah, Dave Darko as well. I never trusted the 5-volt thing either. I saw the post from the Facebook, or sorry, on Facebook, but I don't know. For the sake of like that level shifter I was showing earlier is like, what, like $1.20 for 5 of them. Like for that kind of money, I'm like, I'll just use the level shifter. Yeah. So okay. Dave, I'll test out plugin. So I have let me show you on this one. I have 2 of those. They're HD or C920s, and I have a Mac, and I'm gonna try it out this week. So I'll let you know. And these do 1080p as well, so it's pretty nice. This is just a generic cheap case off AliExpress. I will link to it in the description. Yeah, so it's a nice sized case though. So it should be pretty good. What will also be kind of nice about this is like we'll be able to screw it up and put the lid on it. Well, I guess maybe we'll stick it up that way, and then we can pop the lid that way. I'm not too sure. I have one other thing that I was thinking about using for this, but it's small and I learned my lesson. So yeah, I'm actually planning on trying to do I have to work in Dublin on Wednesday, so I'm staying up in Dublin on Tuesday night, and if my internet's good enough up in the hotel or whatever, I was maybe thinking about doing just a stream or whatever, and like I would be bringing my Mac with me, so I was definitely going to test that out anyways. I'm pretty sure I tried it already, but I can't remember for certain, so I'll let me do that and get back to you. Okay, I need a breadboard as well so I can solder the pins on this, and also need pins for that. 1 second. I can't grab it at the moment, but if you search for ESP8266 5-volt Facebook, it'll show up, I'm sure. I need a breadboard. Pull my ESP32. It's about a blue LED. It's about a blue LED. Just grab it. Expressive. It is here. Yeah, I think that's the Facebook post that we were talking about. Come out, ESP32. Okay. Sion, if you're watching, I was looking at your video at the weekend. I find this is the easiest way to solder header pins onto a board to keep them straight. Be helpful if I put them in the right way. That if you use the breadboard, that like they'll have to be perfectly straight. Ring that bell. Yeah. I find the whole YouTube is kind of weird at the moment. Like, if you just watch something, like, as in, even if you don't subscribe to it, if I just went to Make Me's channel, I'm already subbed to it, but if I wasn't and just watched like 3 or 4 of his videos, the next time he released a video, it would pop up even if I wasn't subbed, just because they're like, oh, Brian spends time watching Make Me's videos, so he loves Make Me. Like, yeah, I don't know if it's weird. Like, sometimes you get like, I watched a few like videos on Carl Pilkington, if any of you know who he is. Like, maybe just 3 or 4, and now my YouTube homepage is just like Brian Carl Pilkington, everything Carl Pilkington. Yeah. Okay. I'm very zoomed in, but I'm getting the old TS100 out. Gotta get my solder as well. I bought this solder years ago, like about 10 years ago. It's still a lot of it left. I can't remember how much I paid for it or anything. I don't know. The only thing is the case broke, but I super glued it back together. Yeah, so YouTube is weird at the moment. Do I have it only set to 300? That seems kind of cold. Go to 350. Make Me, I think you're just subscribed to too many channels that YouTube doesn't know what to do with shit, or like, oh my god, there's just too much stuff. Yeah, I probably should have waited to zoom in. Okay. Let's do this thing. Let's get the tip nice and... Yeah, one of those a million projects I talked about, Dave, was I also need to build that extractor fan. I have a fan, and I even bought those like carbon filter things for it, but I have yet to build it. Yes, I need some blue tack. $1,000 subscriptions. I remember how happy I was when I got 1,000 subscribers. Remind 1,000 subscriptions to something. Yeah, it was funny. I actually got 1,000 subscribers on Christmas Christmas Day. Whenever people were doing subscribing to me on Christmas Day for, I don't know, but was pretty happy with that. I'm now in the post EEV blog guest video hangover stage of my channel, where like, according to YouTube stats, like, all my numbers are down for everything, but really, if you ignore the 3 days in January or whatever after I was on the EV blog guest video, it everything's up. Yeah, probably should have used this used the opportunity to use my my Vice stand. It actually works pretty well. Oops. What's going on? That's how I destroyed a breadboard. Huh. I hope I don't do that. I like this breadboard. I think I'm gonna make one of those fume filters myself. Yeah, I have the carbon filter things, and I have the fan, and I even have 12-volt power supplies, so I don't know what I'm waiting for. To die of lead poisoning, possibly. Yeah, I guess the key to not melting your breadboard is to not spend too much time soldering it, but easier said than done, I suppose. Just that one is squealing at me. Whatever happened. Yes, I'm not doing an overly good job on soldering these. Probably should have got some flux in the mix. I don't know. Here we go. I'm not the best solder at the best of times, and then when you're live streaming, it's even worse. And as per usual, my ground is brutal. It's just because it's got a big heat sink or something, or heat thermal mass. Yeah, those pins look alright to me. D7 maybe isn't great. That's okay. It's fine. I bet the main source of my lead in my body, or lead in my body. Ah, yes. Let's see. Gotta get that. It's a vital mineral to get, isn't it? Lead. We need RGB LEDs. Yeah, if you build that on Tindy, I might buy it. Yeah, I don't know if you can't see that at the moment, but it flickered a lot there. But it could be just me moving around the breadboard too. Let's move up a little bit. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. So I don't know if everybody's reading the chat, but Shine Vision was saying to skip an LED, or skip a pin. So instead of doing 3.3 volts and D8, because the plastic in between is shared, he'd do 3.3. Sorry, I don't know if he's a he. They would do 3.3 volts and D7, and then go back and do D8 and then D6. So that's a good idea. But hopefully I didn't break my breadboard. I'm just pulling it out off screen. It looks fine. Yeah, as I've mentioned a few times in the streams, I love these breadboards because they're good, not because they're see-through. So live, hey there, hey PsyQ, how is it going? Yeah, I had some time and I said I'd just join in, or join in. I was gonna work on this project anyways, and I said why not live stream it. That's my makeshift TS100 stand. Okay. They give you this little thing here. Where is it? Hey Drew. Long time no chat. Yeah, yeah, I guess you can see that the thing is bent a bit easier, but they're just so much better quality than the other Chinese ones. So, yeah, it's clear to see like a mile away. That's weird. Why is that so hard to push in? I've never had that before. Yeah, so if you have the room for it, which I think we do in this case, I like putting the ESP up on stilts, basically. And the reason I like doing that is because, hopefully it does fit, you can plug it back out or take it out if you need to. For whatever reason, programming or I can't open the case. Why? What has happened? There we go. Yeah, so it fits in fine. There's no issues with that whatsoever. Yeah, cool. So now we need to decide where we're gonna put everything. So probably put him out that direction. I put the rotary encoder out the side. Can I do that? I could if I was just using a rotary encoder rather than the yeah, so hey PsyQ, absolutely no problem at all. It was very nice of you to offer to send me something. Drew, yeah, I know that the times I stream don't really suit the continent of America, but it is the time that suits to stream. So I guess I could put the rotary encoder that way if I put it on its side. That would work out okay. I could desolder these and just solder some wires into the board. Then yeah, I think that would work fine. Yep. Cool. Right, and what else do I want? I want you over there. So like that. That thing like that. I still need to put this in somewhere. Let's do it that way. That's the wrong way around. I guess I could put that in here. Does it fit? No. I can cut this this board as well. That is the joys of it, okay. Serviceability. Yeah, and what I like as well about the Wemos D1 Mini is you get a male header pin and a female, I don't know, where's zoomed in down here, or focused. You get a male header pin and a female header pin, and then kind of that dual one with the female with long legs. And So like you have it ready to go to use the socketed ones. So yeah, I like using the socketed ones. It also gives you room if you're tight for room to put stuff underneath here as well. Like I could easily put um, the MOSFET underneath there. Like it wouldn't be any problem at all doing that. You know, bend it over and it'd fit. I probably won't just because I don't need to, but yeah. Okay. I need to decide where I'm putting stuff now. So we're putting this in here. We'll put the MOSFET up there somewhere. Put the rotary encoder on the side. Oh, I still need to put an output somewhere. Maybe I should put the Wemos that way. Rotary encoder can still go on the side here. That is good to know, Jacksat. I feel like I should nearly write that down. Yeah, I've a few more bought from RoboDin, who's the crowd I buy the see-through ones off. So should be pretty good now at this stage. So if I put my MOSFET here, input here, I'll put my output here. Ooh, I could put terminal blocks in, and then I wouldn't have to solder this. It would make me be able to break it apart. Ooh, that's not actually a bad idea. I could put terminal blocks on both sides. It would save me needing to drill the case this evening. Yeah, that's what I might actually do. It's nice to have room to do things. So I'll put that in there. And yeah, oh, this needs to go into in and out. That looks alright to me. Cool. Yeah, I have decided I'm never buying I'm never buying a $1 breadboard ever again. Send commands to a building for. Oh, yeah, cool. Nice. You're using buttons on a touchscreen TFT. Oh, that sounds pretty nice. Drew, I'd love to see more about that when you get started on it, because especially the touchscreen TFT part, I'd be interested in your recommendations for that, because yeah, I haven't played with one much, but I was thinking about it. Just to fill out, I found it, but a 6-volt relance for 230 volt AC, because the solid states need spike protection and the relance don't. Cool. Pure Adafruit. You are Adafruit fanboy. I think it's fair to say. And you're right too. Why wouldn't you be? Okay, so let's desolder the header pins off this first, so we're at a pretty level playing field. I'll get down the. I'm gonna get my vise actually. So I bought this in. I know they're in America some places, an Aldi. But if you're not familiar with it, it's a grocery store, like a discount kind of grocery store that sell like mainly their own brand of stuff. but then they do like weekly specials where they sell like anything. It could be like it could be tools this week, it could be pet stuff next week, it could be gardening stuff the following week. But this was actually this was in it, and I way overshot how much I needed of that, but this was in it, and it was €8, and it's actually quite good for the job that I'm about to use it for. So before I hold it in place to start desoldering it, I am going to cut them, so to separate them from each other, which will make it much easier to desolder them because they're not one unit if they're cut apart. You know, so that's my top tip. I'm gonna put on my safety goggles. I suppose I can show you my face again. I don't know why I took that away. Yes, so thank you to all the German people on the chat for Aldi. So yeah, I'm gonna cut the pins too, because why not? I don't want to save them or anything. I'm gonna do what Dave was doing, and on Dave's stream earlier, he was like stabbing himself with everything he was cutting, so he didn't ping it around his room. Ow. Ow. Okay, so that's that done. I'd say I nearly cut it enough that I could like just lift off this plastic rather than cutting them apart from each other. I didn't. Okay, no worries. So I'm just snipping the plastic. So now they're all separated from each other. I can probably pull the plastic off them now. Yeah, we only have one Aldi, and I'm not sure which one we have. They sell work zone stuff, if that narrows it down. I don't know, there was rumors for a while that Lidl, I think, was one of the Aldis, and Aldi was the other Aldi, but Lidl is in Germany too, right? So I don't think that's true. Come on, come out. No, that may seem like a pain, but it makes our job of desoldering this a whole lot easier, so anything that makes something easier is fine by me. So let's turn back on the soldering iron. I could have pulled the plastic off, but it was hard to cut. It was hard to cut. Make me. Your this message was held for review, presumably from your overuse of the word "suck." So hopefully it'll show up now. It's not showing up on the screen. The beard has gotten epic. I don't grow a beard for fashion. I grow it for laziness. I just don't shave. I guess it's probably time to shave again. It does grow pretty fast for me, so right, so I might need to put a little bit of solder to get this going. No. Come on. Out you come. There we go. Yeah, so I was saying there, Q, that it was hard to cut. Oh, enough Did I pull the header off? No. It looked like I did. I thought I pulled the no. I thought I pulled the what is that called? Pad off. Surprised. I was like, I couldn't have pulled the pad off. But it looked like I did. But looks fine. The reason I couldn't pull the plastic straight off was because the curve was making it hard to pull off, and then like it was hard to cut low enough down to get rid of that curve. So right, there's that. I guess I should try clean it up with the sucker or solder wick. I'm terrible with solder wick. I probably, because I buy cheap solder wick, but I'm gonna try again. You can tell me what I'm doing wrong. I've never used the cutthroat or traditional shaving. I'm too scared. Right, so I'm just putting some flux. Okay. You can tell me if my fluxing technique is wrong. Better look in the chat. Directly used. Oh. Cool. I obviously just did a bad job at pulling it off, so come on. Suck up. Oops. Getting some up, but I actually need to get myself a good solder sucker. I think at this stage I'd be just better off heating up the pad and sticking wire through it. I did want an excuse to try use wick again though. Like I'm getting wick, I'm getting solder up, but I'm not exactly clearing the pad off. And pull. It's easier when you start a bit more into the wick and then pull towards the end away. So, okay. So let me start with a fresh bit of wick. So you're saying start kind of like more in the middle. Better hold it lower down. Stay away from the end. Okay. Like this far away. Then pull towards. Okay. This is something I'll practice off screen some other time. I'm just going to poke the wire through later when needed. Okay. Add some solder while the wick is on. Okay, let me try that. So Does anyone have a spare extra hand that I could use? So while the wick is on, add some solder. I'm gonna burn myself here, but anyways. Okay, let's get this flowing. Then we'll bring on the wick. No, the wick is hot. Okay. I'll worry about that some other time, but thank you for the advice. I'll practice on my own. Okay, this thing is probably going to be hot now. Okay, yeah, it should be usable anyways. +1 needs more heat. Use the flux pen on the wick, not only on the board. More heat, faster heat, the copper might work too. More power. Okay, I'm determined now. I'm filled with determination. So let's crank this puppy up. So what do we think? Like 400? Yeah? Put some flux on the wick too. I did do that earlier, but I guess I started using a different part of the wick. So let's put a nice bit of flux on the wick. Do the other side too. Let's plug it back in. Okay, let's put a bit more flux. Flux. Now, filled with determination. Okay, so we're putting the ooh, yeah, it's working better. Suck it up. I'm definitely just gonna poke the rest of them through, but I'm determined to get one done. We're getting somewhere. Ooh, hot. If it's silver, move higher. Smoke equals success. You got this. If it's silver, move higher. So move it further along, is it? Oh, there's a lovely smell of flux. So. Come on. We can do this. This is a team effort. I feel like we're close. Come on, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. So close, I can just tell. I can't tell at all. I have no idea what I'm doing. Come on. Run out of runway. Stab it in a bit. Yeah. So close yet so far. Practice makes perfect, but we're not gonna practice live on stream. I still have a lot to go actually too, so I'm abusing that pad at the moment. Okay, I'll need that again in a minute. Maybe add more solder. I should have. I don't think the wiggle helps. It felt good though. I do have a solder sucker, but it's terrible. I need to get one that has like the silicone head on it, so you can so it I can hold it near, and also that happens with it a lot, so it's kind of crap. We'll worry about it again, guys. I'm sorry I've let you down, but I'm conscious of the time, so let's get to it. Right, so I'm going to add screw terminals for this. Oops. That's what I originally said. I'm just going to add screw terminals for that. If I put it along there, I could use that as the input side. I mightn't have room for the rotary encoder then. No, I don't like that. I like my original idea. Rotary encoder there, but where will I put the screw terminals? Here, I suppose. Okay. Let me get the screw terminals. I had a drill so that you can I had a drill so that you can drill through there. That pad was tough. It should have broke. What am I looking for? Terminal blocks. Oh no. It's gonna stuck in my You should have said I was doing it wrong because it wasn't working. Yeah, I've been super lucky with the type of people who have been coming to my channel. Like super lucky. Like you hear so many people talking about like, oh, you know, sometimes I find it so hard to deal with negative comments or whatever. I honestly don't know if I've had a negative comment on my channel. There was a good few people who weren't super impressed on the EEV blog, on the guest video, but yeah, I honestly don't think I've had a single negative comment on my videos, which is super unexpected, to be honest. I'm sure they'll come. Their time will come, but for now, I'll just appreciate the lack of negativity. Okay, cool. So let's put this down here. Do I have a black marker? No. Okay, I'll do that later. If I do that, is it going to be awkward? I'm going to come down over it. I don't really know what other way I could do that. I guess I don't need to come in from... do something like that. Yeah, that might work. I'll bring it up underneath. Yeah, more soldering, proper desoldering. Yeah, I'd love to get one of those this solder suckers. I just don't desolder enough to probably make it worth my while. But yeah, I like the idea of them. They look therapeutic. Is that going to be a problem? I don't think so. Okay, yeah, this is my new design. Okay, so I'm going to screw in or solder in these terminals just to begin with. Give myself some room to let the wires bend inwards. Same for you. Yeah. Okay. Let's get a little bit of blue tack. You can poke 2 wires through the board, set it vertical, and use the connection to also fix the DC to DC. Yeah, I kind of got that impression too, about the EEV blog people. Like, to be honest, there's a good few of you here. Ground is common on these DC to DC. There's a good few from the EEV blog here, but like, I find it funny, like, even when Dave does a normal video, there's a huge amount of negative comments in the comment section. Like, it's crazy. I don't understand. Like, if you don't like what Dave is doing anymore, like, why are you watching videos or commenting on them? It seems mental to me, but yeah. I don't know. Okay, so is ground common on these? Let's find out. Yes, so Leonid, I'm pretty certain there's a green PCB in here. I suppose we could open it up and find out. I'm pretty sure. Okay, let's do an impromptu mailbag. Seeing as I haven't soldered anything or cut the other one, pretty certain that's what's in here anyways. Ooh, both types. So more of the crappy ones and some of the good ones. Didn't realize I was buying from the Hackaday comments in his videos. The problem now I have is this one's quite a bit smaller, which mightn't be the end of the world, but so if I put my ESP up here, put my, I suppose my screw terminals need to go down here somewhere. Yeah, I don't know if I'll have the room for it, but we'll see. Then this will be a problem. Yeah, I think I'll have to stick to the bad ones. Look on the bottom for DC to ground. Okay. Just let me know as well if I'm missing yeah, the whole thing is a big giant ground plan. The entire back of it, you can see the positive is isolated on the in plus. It's a much smaller isolation on the out plus, but the rest of it is just completely connected. Yeah, so chat is scrolling by super fast, so if I'm missing something that you want me to respond to, let me know. And I'm sorry. Okay, so I'll have to use the crappy one. I didn't buy big enough good ones, so my apologies. I find these ones are okay. They're not at all straight and whatever, and the pins lift off these things super easily, but other than that, it's cool. Okay, so let's put that in there. I'm putting that in there somewhere. So if that's negative, I only need to put in, I only need to solder on one. I only need to solder on one of the, but it still doesn't help me, does it? If I put it, yeah, that fits in okay. I put my screw terminals up here for input. I can just solder to the one in plus, and I can, that's a common ground. So I can solder, I can run a wire down to that, I guess. Yeah, that should work. See you, Eric. I forgot to bring up. I was mentioning on, I think it was on Unexpected Makers stream about how that day I'd been watching a documentary on maple syrup, and I wanted to bring that up with Eric, but I forgot. Okay. So let's throw. Okay, I think we should just start building this thing now, anyways. Enough time faffing about, as they would say. Okay, so let's just hold that guy in there. Hold the ESP in place as well. He'll stay in place, and let's add this guy in place too. We'll worry about what they're doing now in a minute. I honestly bought my True Hawk. I don't know. There isn't a huge amount of options in Ireland, so we do have Farnell, who are, is it CPC, or is that their parent company? But the problem I have with them, I might as well use my voice. It's just the postage is kind of expensive. Like, I know they're not, in general, everything isn't that expensive, but I don't know, it's just if you're used to paying $1 for 10 or whatever these ones are, when you need to pay like €10 shipping for whatever you're buying, it starts to look kind of expensive. Okay, wake up soldering iron. I do not need you to be 400 degrees anymore. 350 will do me. Yeah, I think so. The other advantage of them is they're dual-sided, right? That like there's pads on both sides, so it's a bit stronger. Like there's only a pad on one side there, so there's very little holding it onto the fiberglass or whatever it's made out of. So yeah, so that's one of its big advantages. So I'm just going to put a little bit of solder on here because we're going to need to attach a wire to this in a minute anyways. So there's no point spending a huge amount of time soldering. Probably could have done a better job of blue tacking the ESP up. That looks okay. Again, I don't need to do all the pins here, so I'm not gonna bother. And that looks alright. And then the final screw terminals. Last one then. I can't see what I'm doing at all. Just guessing that I'm doing it okay. I don't think I am. That'll do. How do you resist open? Yeah, it's hard sometimes, especially if you really want the thing that if you really want something that is potentially in them, but yeah, I haven't been too bad. I have a huge amount of stuff like to do projects. Like I could not buy anything now and have like 100 projects, probably no problem. So if you look at the drilling up left, you see the bad centering. Which left? This left? Oh yeah, it's terrible. Yeah. Something is uncentered with it anyways. That's really badly soldered, but I need to change it anyways. Yeah, so it's not too bad if you're not in the middle of waiting for something. So let's might as well solder this onto. So I'm just gonna bend it over. I do a lot crafty. I don't always. No, that must be said. But I normally would. I definitely have in the past. Yeah, I find like as like the Arduino subreddit has a lot more people, but I find that the ESP sub, like my videos tend to do better on there. Like definitely per I'm gonna run out of space here. Definitely per like subscriber, or sorry, per yeah, the size of the Arduino subreddit compared to the ESP one, it does better for sure. But yeah, if there's a video I haven't submitted or you think that I should, let me know. I can do that. Yeah, one thing actually this week as well, I saw someone posted up a Bitcoin or a cryptocurrency display, and it was a pretty nice one that they'd done with a TFT screen. But was on the front page of our Arduino, and there was like 6 people in the comments going like, "Hey, any chance you could share the code or whatever?" And the guy ignored every single question around that. I was just like, I hate that about some things. Like, you'll see people in the like, here's a complete guide, here's all my code, here's all my boards are open source, and they've like 20 upvotes, and this one static picture of a guy who's not sharing any of his code or any of his anything gets like 200 upvotes, and it's like, that's just such a pain. It's not I don't know, but like at the same time I feel like it's up to people to be like, hey, if he's not sharing his source code, why don't we downvote him or whatever? Like, no. And look, it's cool if you don't want to share it, you don't want to share it, but it's not I don't know, I don't feel it's like the ethos of being a maker. But I suppose each to their own. Okay, let's put in this cap as well. We can put it in. Might as well put it in here. I may as well put it in the right pins here. Yeah, it's a nice size. Put that over like that. Yeah, I ended up submitting one that I'd actually already submitted it before, the cryptocurrency display that I had made, because I did have code and whatever in it. Like it's actually pretty straightforward because of the library, the CoinMarketCap library that I wrote. It's actually a pretty straightforward project. Just hold this. Come on, melt. I'll come back to that in a second. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like it. Okay, he's down where he is. That good with only libraries. Yeah, like with all my libraries IQ, I try to provide an example of what you can do in it. Like the Telegram library has a huge amount of examples. Like has 9 or 10, I think, at this stage. Like I really, yeah, I don't see the point. Like, I don't know. I find it weird that there's a good few libraries where I need to go in and like read the library code to understand how I can use the library, and I just feel like that's kind of weird. Like, that's what the example is for, but I don't know. It's not too bad, no. Okay. Before I go a huge amount further, I need to adjust the this thingy. Time zone sleep is calling. Yeah, it's nearly sleep time for me. It's 12 o'clock. Thanks for joining, Jerome. No, he did mention in the comments. I commented, just somebody was asking for the code, and I said, like, here's the library if you want to use it. He did mention in the comments that he thanked me for it, that like he based the code on my CoinMarketCap library, but he did something different. Oh yeah, he wasn't using one of the JSON libraries. He was just parsing it directly, and that probably is more memory efficient. But I guess it's harder to work with if you want to make changes later or whatever. But okay, right. So I'll make the top one ground because it's closest to ground, and then I can have a free path then to yeah. No, I'd say, Martin, I'd say it was real anyways, because, like, to be honest, the hardest part about it was how nice he had the display, and, like, if he had that much working, like, he could have done the coin market cap thing pretty easily, like, I would have said, but, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you see, I need to adjust this before I put it on, because, well, I just cannot, I just won't connect it to, the D1 Mini, actually. That makes probably the most sense. Do I have enough room if I do that? Probably. Yeah. That should be fine. Hope minus is beside clock. Flick that around. Oh, sorry, I'm off screen. If you look at our Arduino and filter by top posts of this week, it'll be one of the top posts of this week. It did look very nice, in fairness to it. I have a bit of an issue here. That I could fix. So I'm just thinking that, so if this is my kitchen counter, this board is my kitchen counter, power will be coming from this side. It's up against the wall here. So if this was my input at the moment, if I turn it this way, and it's up against that wall over here, oops, if it's up against, oh, definitely shouldn't have that poking in on 12 volts. If it's up against this wall over here, the rotary encoder being here is not a whole lot of use to me. But if I flip it around the other way, that's not a whole lot of use to me either, because then I would have to bring the thing around to bring it into so that was a bit of a boo-boo on my part. Should have thought that one through. I guess I can just bring it in here, and that would leave it on the outside, and I can just run a wire over here, or I could do my favorite thing to do, which is desolder the MOSFET. No, I'll just run the wire along. Not ideal placement of anything by me, but it'll be fine. Yeah, it will be fine. I don't think I have the room to mount it off board. I could cut the board. Oh, I have to remember as well that it's going to be upside down. So it's going to be... Oh, the fact that it's upside down kind of saves me. Because it's going to come in here. Yeah, see, this is, I planned this all along. It's going to come in here, and then the potentiometer, which needs a bit of room actually, is going to be there, which is now going to be on the outside. Oh, Hey, you showed the connections last time. Pins and connectors is just desoldered. Yeah, there is 4. I'm one of them. The one that is like, it's a rectangular screen with small text. That's the one I was talking about. That's the original one. And then someone else said they made a simple one that had like a zip tie on it. He did post his code, in fairness. That's my input. Okay. I can fit that in there, kind of. Screw terminal is bad. This is just all shocking placement of stuff by me. If I move those screw terminals up 1 or 2, yeah, I'll move the screw terminals up a couple. That will get me sorted that I can put it in like this again. I'm not sure what you mean, SciQ. You showed the connectors the last time. Use pins plus connectors you just desoldered. The connectors you were using for the bridges on the breadboard fit the encoder pins, the female ones. The connections you were using for the bridges on the breadboard. The connections I'm using fit the encoder pins. Sorry, I'm not following you. Like that I can solder them in like that? Is it? I don't know. The Wemos does have an onboard voltage regulator, but I don't think it can handle 12 volts. I have some regulators here. I don't know if any of them can handle 12 volts. Let me check though, because they are smaller. Although I don't think I have anything for soldering them. Let me I think there's a way I can allow you as a permit. YouTube live chat. People were saying permit. The OLED one is mine. Yep. Can I change chat or something? Advanced settings. Where's chat? Chat. I should get a smaller DC to DC converter. Probably not gonna get a smaller one tonight though. Yeah, I don't know where I can stop. Where I can allow. Okay, so I've got 2 different voltage regulators. I've got an AMS 117, which outputs 3.3 volts. I have a reel of AMS 117s for whatever reason, and then I also have these ones, which are I can't even see. Maybe I can. suppose it'd probably help if I took one out. I have a feeling that Andreas Spike recommended these ones at one stage. I can't remember why I bought them anyways. Probably Andreas Spike related. So what's that, a HT733? Good job, Maxent. You're on the ball, I think. HT7. So, but what is the max? Yeah, so I'm not worried about the inefficiency of a voltage regulator. I'm worried about what is the max I can I can provide to get it down to 3.3 volts. So the AMS 117 3.3 data sheet. Let's take a look. Spice. I thought you told me it was Spike. No, it wasn't you that told me it was Spike. Somebody told me it was Spike. It was PsyQ. You told me it was Spike. Like bounce or Pokey Pokey. You even wrote Pokey Pokey. I thought it was Spice. Well, then I should be able to use that. Maybe it only has that. So this board has stuff on it already. Do I need to change the resistors for it to be 15 volts, or can I just put 15 volts in? And which AMS do I have? It's the DN628. DN, I don't see. It's the 3.3 volt. Okay, so this one is a AMS 117 3.3. So if I look at this data sheet, is this the max input? Where am I looking for max input? Oh yeah, input voltage 15 volts. Will we just try it out? A weapon is a pike. Spice equals pike. Spice. Oh, okay. In German, Spice is pike. Okay. I get you. Just put it in, but be careful with the heat. Okay. Let's give it a go. Let's start some fires, boys. Because that would make things a whole lot easier. Okay. This is also probably a fake AMS 117, so it's probably going to blow up. My PSU is 12. I've got 12 as my V in. So let me just solder some. You know what? I'm gonna solder male header pins to it actually. It's 12 volts. That's a bit of wiggle room, right? I think that's a whole 3 volts under max. Yeah, that is a lot of voltage for it to drop. Sure, we'll see. We'll see. So I'm just going to solder in the V in. So I might as well use my I might as well solder in the both. How far does it go down? I have little heat sinks that we can stick onto it too if we need to. Is it really 1 minute behind chat? Jeez. Is the AMS a linear regulator? The SMD doesn't cool off if not large pads. It is a linear regulator, right? So are we saying this is a bad idea now? 1 amp load dropout. Yeah, I think some of the delay as well is Restream IO as opposed to YouTube itself. So if you wanted to do another ping there, I'll solder this voltage regulator anyways. Whether we use it or not, I'm sure it'll be used at some stage. Ground is obviously pretty big on it because that did not solder well at all. None of this is soldering that one. The pads are tiny actually, that's the problem. Oh, there we go. They're terrible. Melt, please. Okay, should be alright. 34 seconds. That's not good. The YouTube chat is a tiny bit quicker as well. Maybe I have some settings wrong or something. I don't know. So what do you think? I'm gonna burn the world down. Just that light on the DC to DC converter on the has been on for ages, even though it's no longer outputting voltage, or at least it shouldn't be. Okay. I think we probably will have to stick with the DC to DC converter then, but let's see. Right. Where are my goggles? That's a pain. But it's so slow, it kind of makes the interaction hard. to do. I must look to see what's wrong with that. Okay, the thing's still going. It's probably the cap that's keeping it alive or whatever. Where's my remote? Get my thermometer out from my multimeter. Let's first check the there's a back feed from USB. Not getting anything on the output. I don't think, unless I'm measuring it wrong. No, 3.3. Okay. That's working. Does the Wemos back feed the 5 volt to the DC to DC? Oh, yes, that is what's happening. Well spotted. It's not at all hot at the moment, but I guess it doesn't have any load at the moment, so maybe that's why. Bit confused what to do. It's not even slightly warm. It won't get hot with no load. Okay. The Wemos pulls about varies, but it can pull up to like 300 milliamps. But that wouldn't be all the time. It'd probably be 100. Okay, so let's. Oh, my back is getting sore now. The DC to DC is out of there. Let's bring that's that powering up. Now, where is my... Let's try the... Gavin. Oops, I don't have it very well centered there. Okay, 23 degrees. It's warm. Yes, it's getting quite warm. 48. Operating temperature up to 125. It's getting hotter than 50. Yeah, I don't know. Probably not. Let's see, your one. Because I might actually have some other stuff. Okay. I wish I could allow people to post links. Yeah, it seems within range, like, but at the same time, I don't know, like, I'd be enclosing the case as well, so. Oops, that's not right. Is it E there? Didn't find it. Is that AliExpress.com / blah 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 blah. Let's go. Okay. Here's what I have in terms of power converting. Okay, so we all think the temps are fine. Okay, cool. Let's measure it one more time. See what it is. Let's see. $65. Seems like it's bottoming out on 65 too. I do have one of these things, but I probably won't even use it. Okay, cool. Let's stick with what we have. Oops. 8266 is a battery killer. It is. We aren't going on battery this time though. Okay. So that makes us a lot smaller. guess we can. Yeah, true. True. If I go something like that. Presumably the grounds are connected on these two, but I'll just... Now I should have had that terminal block moved. I might move it. Just put the input right beside the VN. Yeah, I'll move that terminal block. No, we're going to 3.3 now, so my oh yes, so my my capacitor up at 5 volts is no longer required. Okay, I'm not going to move anything. Okay. Cool. Let's turn that back on. Right, so what do I have left to do? I should just move it. Yeah, let's move that. I'm very indecisive. My desk was perfectly clean before I started this, and now it's a mess. That is very unfocused. Why is that? So much stuff in the way, I can't even see. Oh yeah. Okay, so I need to move this terminal block. So let's start with that. Play the solder heat up shuffle. Try not to burn my lovely new vise. I know I could probably put a big load of solder in between the two of them. It'd flow pretty nicely, but I should be done there now. So I guess if I move him out of the way, then move him up there. I suppose I could move it closer, why wouldn't I? Mess, just keep going. Yep. No, just the main reason I'm commenting on that is because I spent a huge amount of today tidying up my mess, cleaning up my mess. Right, so let's get started on... I may as well connect those two up together while we're here. Let's use some tinned wire. Should do the trick. Can you even see what I'm doing there? Just about. Gonna need to use some outside assistance so I don't burn myself. It's not the best stuck down, but we'll make it better now in a minute. Do we have any solder? I could use my trusty blue tack. It's gonna leave a bit of residue, but it's okay, I'll fix that in a minute. Doesn't look too bad. Yep, sounds about right, IQ. There we go. Might as well put a bit of solder here, actually, just to give it a bit of extra strength. Yeah. That's that one. I feel like I'm super far away from the board at the moment, so... Oh, they're a little bit spread out. I didn't realize that. Not to worry. Okay, that's that one. Let's get another piece. Do. Now I'm kind of soldering the far side of where I want to be, but an opportunity to solder down here too. That doesn't look too bad. There, looks pretty good. Thanks for the link as well. I can't even remember who sent it anymore, but I can't scroll back up for the mini converter. Looks pretty good. It's a nice small size too. Okay. So I really feel like that cap is just. Oh, what am I doing? I'm spinning the wrong thing. I really feel like that cap is just worth leaving there and just not using whatsoever. There's caps in this, so maybe this smooths it. I might just connect it straight up and see how it goes. This ground still needs to go up here. Let's do some wire stripping. I guess. I don't. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I should finish this tomorrow. Like, I have a good bit left to do in this project, so. Or to finish this out, like, so. I don't know what to do. Yeah, I think I might just finish it up there. Get to the wiring in the morning or tomorrow at some stage. If I can, I'll do another stream, but I don't know. Yeah, just by the time I have this soldered up and wired in, and yeah, there's just a bit left to do, and I don't think I have the energy to do it. Yeah, I saw Q. The weather in Ireland has been pretty bad. Well, it's probably fine by like German standards, but like we didn't have post since Tuesday of last week, I think. So yeah, not overly surprising that stuff hasn't come yet. Anyways. I think the German post is faster too, because Michael bought something after I posted about it on Twitter, and he received his this week, and I didn't receive mine yet. So, well, unless it's that other package that I have. I've only one other package, but I don't think it is. Yeah, so I think I will. I'll save this for. Save this for the next day. I can put it in its lovely, what is it, counter lights box. Yeah, I'll stick around for just another second while I'm tidying up, just to let the chat catch up. But yeah, thanks a lot for joining, everybody. Sorry I didn't get it finished, but as mentioned, I didn't think I'd be streaming for this long. I really need to get better at estimating how long projects are going to take, because I thought like I'd be done in a couple of hours, but it is now, how long? 2 hours and 45 minutes, so yes, my estimate is bad, but we've learned some stuff, and isn't that the important thing? Yep, thanks for joining, Max and PsyQ. We'll get it next time. Maybe I might finish this off on thanks, Dave. I might finish this off on Monday, and then do if I am able to do a stream on Tuesday, I'll continue with the clock. I'm not too sure. Because I definitely won't have access to like my soldering iron and stuff on Tuesday, so kind of makes sense to not do that kind of a stream on Tuesday. Right, cool. Estimate times 3 makes new estimates. Yeah, but even when you do that, you still need to estimate it another 3 times. When Unexpected Maker was talking about doing a stream for the first time, I was like, whatever you plan, estimate that it's going to take 4 times as long as you would normally do it in. And yeah, I guess I need to start listening to my own advice. Probably too close to the smiley. I don't understand what that means. Yeah, so I'll finish up there anyways. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it. And I'll catch you next time.